Do you love great music in a movie? I've got one for you. It's a 1958 movie from the great Indian director Satyajit Ray. It's his third feature film called The Music Room. Let's talk about it coming up next. The Music Room was made between the second and third movies in the Apu trilogy by Satyajit Ray. And I love thinking about how The Music Room sort of corresponds with the Apu trilogy movies. Now, I don't know a lot about Indian culture. I watch this movie in an archetypal way. But I think the movie goes this way. There's a lord in a palace in the 19th, maybe the 20th century. And he's got really nothing to do. He's a member of the leisure class. Turns out, though, he's low on funds, he's low on money, and all that's left in his storehouse is the family jewels. But he's got power. So one day comes a moneylender who moves nearby, and the lord allows the moneylender to operate locally. But he gives the moneylender some rules. The moneylender says, okay, and then the two part ways. This begins a story which takes place over years. As the Lord descends financially, and I think spiritually, so does the moneylender ascend financially. Now, the one thing keeping this Lord relatively happy is his absolute love of music. And in his palace, in one of the vast rooms in his palace where he's got pictures of his ancestors on the wall, and the ancestral chandelier, which features prominently, especially at the beginning of the movie and the opening credits, this music room has had so many wondrous concerts in it. And during the movie, you see the Lord, even though he's becoming bankrupt, desire to keep having concerts in this music room. At the beginning of the movie, he's got to have a coming-of-age festival for his son, who is a great singer and loves music himself. The Lord spends seemingly the last bit of his money on this festival, and has a magnificent concert. He invites the moneylender over, and of course you have a juxtaposition. While the Lord appreciates great, wonderful music, the moneylender, well, he doesn't care so much about art or music in general. Because this is titled The Music Room, and because this movie features the music room, you expect to have several concerts in this movie. And yet, I think one of the great things about this movie is, in fact, the music in it. You know, Satyajit Ray found Ravi Shankar to use in the first movie in his Apu trilogy, Ravi Shankar becoming world famous after that point. And here you have many great singers in this movie. I could watch this movie again just to listen to what the Lord hears in his concert hall. Now, I love complex, interesting music. I found it in this movie. Take this Older Man, for example. Now, the question that comes up in this movie is the Lord preserving art, music, and traditional Indian culture by having these concerts in his music room? Or is music an escape that allows him to continue to dissipate morally and spiritually and financially? Movie's asking questions about who is a patron of the arts, and if people like this Lord go away, will the moneylenders, will they become patrons of the arts? Will they love great art? The moneylender, because of his poor taste, seems not to be the kind of person to be a patron. But what's going to happen when this Lord goes away? What's going to happen as this Lord dissipates and as his rule is threatened? Now, things happen in the middle of this movie that I do not want to spoil for you. But it's very key to understanding this movie to see the aristocracy on the decline and the world of finances, the money lending aspect of finances in particular, on the rise. I have no doubt that this movie is commenting on the nature of movies and who's funding movies in India and elsewhere in the world, by the way. I watched this movie and I was unsure of my judgment. I wasn't expecting anything from it, and yet it did hypnotize me. When I feel hypnotized by a movie, I don't trust my judgment. So I turned to the internet and went to letterboxd.com, and you know what? A lot of people really love this movie. So I could still be wrong, but maybe that is slight justification for my opinion that this movie is indeed great. It's got a haunting, otherworldly quality to it. It's composed like an intricate 19th century short story. I wasn't surprised to see in the opening credits that this movie comes from a novel. It does feel like a novel in that basically everything in it is highly symbolic. Everything in it kind of corresponds corresponds to historical and cultural concerns. And the movie is very careful to depict this lord in the most complex of ways. On the one hand, he's lazy and pathetic. He also doesn't seem to care about his own ruination. On the other hand, he does love his family, he does care about music, and he has some dignity about him, especially when he conducts himself around others. It's not so easy then to say, well, let's get rid of the aristocracy because they're so pathetic and lazy, they sit around their palaces all the time. It's also not so easy to say, well, the aristocracy, they're the keeper of the arts, so let's keep them around. The movie is not so clear on those questions. And then again, I think the ambiguity coming from the novel really shows up in the movie. And because it's a Satyajit Ray movie, it's exquisitely shot. Ray's one of the masters, you gotta watch some of his movies. And The Music Room isn't a bad place to start. Have you seen this movie? What do you think of it? I especially would like to hear from my Indian subscribers, those of you from India or know of Indian culture. What do you think about The Music Room? So please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.